Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tarkov. I'm the EarLegAthlete here with,
Hey, Dizzle.
and today we're taking a look at Escape from Tarkov's newest patch, some major changes to weapons, as well as a couple new nikileaks. So let's go ahead and get right to it. I think starting at the patch notes, since it was not only Tarkov that got a pretty decent sized patch, but Arena also got a nice sized patch, and there are some pretty cool changes within both. I know EFT is a little more popular than Arena, and while Arena did get a decent amount of stuff to it, we'll start with Tarkov, and then we'll go through it pretty well, and then we'll just kind of quickly go through the Arena patch notes. I think there's only really a couple major talking points in there anyways. So, starting with the EFT patch notes, we'll start with changes. Adjusted the game server launch mechanics to speed up the process of creation of rooms for matches and getting players into raids. Adjusted the raid completion mechanics and the display of post-raid statistics to speed up the process of leaving the raid after its completion. Optimized the launch speed of the game client and menu loading. Added a permanent display of the Zuberboat departure time to the final part of the terminal. Updated the DLSS version to 4.5 and added support for new presets. Those are right there are huge. I would have been happy to just see those changes as the patch notes. I would have been.
That's a good patch. That's a good patch right there.
Absolutely. There's a lot of other things inside of this, but just to touch on some of the stuff that they've done to get raids flowing faster, loading in and loading out of raids. I've only been running Lighthouse for the last 3 days, doing assessment part 1 and trying to do Insomnia. So I have been putting myself at a little bit of a slower matching time because I'm doing nighttime Lighthouse, which Lighthouse isn't a very populated map as it is, and then you put it at night and even less people are there. So I understand.
Lighthouse has always been longer than other maps. Lighthouse and Streets were like the top two.
Yeah, so I kind of expected throughout yesterday or so, after the patch had come live, I kind of expected it to still be slower, load times. Like, sure, other maps where it's populated and you can generate more rooms more quickly to fill up, where Lighthouse, you probably have 5 rooms total and they're all struggling to be full, I would say. It's just maybe that's not an accurate statement, but that's what it feels like sometimes. But even running nighttime Lighthouse, I've been getting raids that have players in them. I've been getting in at the start of the raid, and I've still been loading in pretty quickly. I haven't been seeing anything longer than 2 minutes, which is, relatively slow in the grand scheme of things, sure. But for Tarkov, that's pretty solid, especially on a nighttime map that's not populated. So
because it's been so long, years and years, where 2 minutes into a Lighthouse raid would have been noticeably quick. That would have been oh wow, I got in quick. Because normally you were sitting for at least 3 to 5 minutes for a normal raid.
easily.
And yeah, and even longer on some days. It could have been a 10-minute timer sometimes. So the fact that 2 minutes has become the norm now for a nighttime map that doesn't always have a lot of population, that's nuts, really.
And they're not
really
empty raids.
Yeah.
I'm fighting players every raid. It's awesome.
Yeah, people have said that raids feel liver now than they had in a while. It feels like there's just more people. So I don't know what they did, but man, it really helped.
Yeah, I don't think they've actually gone too in depth on everything that they've changed, especially with the patch that they just put through. I know Nikita last week we went over the stuff that he was talking about, but even then it was still kind of just touching on things, not necessarily explaining what they'd done. But whatever it is, huge changes all the way around.
Well, it makes sense.
I have
Tarkov has enough players to where this should have never been a problem.
Even when Tarkov is quote unquote dead, right? There's still plenty of players.
Because if you think about it, this problem only gets worse when we get more players. Whenever there's a big patch and a bunch of people, it made it slower. That's when it was hard as fuck to get in a raid. You would sometimes sit for 20 minutes in the launcher to try to get in. So it's there was always an issue with some bottleneck in the process somewhere, and it seems like they have fixed it. And I just feel like this just changes so much, especially for the next big patch. It just makes it where Tarkov is so much more appealing.
Yeah. And that's what I'm kind of excited for, is for this big in-game event to come, because then we actually get to see an influx of players again, because we know that there's going to be a massive amount of players back in the game, and then we get to see if those changes are actually working, or if it was just because of the smaller player base that had the raids moving a little quicker, or if they've actually made some changes. And in my opinion, I think they've actually made some changes that are viable, that
Yeah.
are really going to make a difference.
Yeah, you can't
Outs
have that big of a difference without
Making
something
some
getting
changes,
fixed.
yeah.
Yeah,
Outside of
something major
Lighthouse,
got
the
fixed.
raids that I have ran, streets, reserve, and customs, I've gotten in like at a minute 30. I'm like, oh shit, I'm in. Like, that's cool. Let's go. That's awesome. So even other maps, any time of day, I was running raids as late as like 5 a.m., 3 a.m., 2 a.m. You know what I mean? I'm a night out
Yeah.
for some days. Some days I'm up at 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. is when I'm running my raids. So, but in that 2 days that I've done this, it's been consistent, and that's the big one. It's been consistent. I've
Yeah.
had one raid timer that went over 3 minutes, and it was on a delay or whatever, and it was a scav raid loading into a nighttime lighthouse. So again, like, that's expected every single time. With overall raids going in on PMC, going on scav raids to normal maps at normal times, everything has been like a minute to a minute 30. We're in that raid, or at least about to load into that raid. Um, it's been great.
See, it's something in the pipeline because even when we played PvE, it would happen.
Yeah.
Like, even on PvE, when you're not even waiting on someone else to load in, it would still happen. And I've noticed now, even PvE is getting in super quick. And I watched Landmark did a test and he switched his location on the servers from like North America to like, Mexico, and like he just kept switching them all up, and for all of them, he was getting in like sub 1 minute.
Yeah, I've
So
got a
it
buddy
just
that server hops to get certain tasks done. So he'll go to
yeah,
like Mexico, Colombia. He'll go to the EU at certain times, and he was saying the same thing. So it
yeah,
is nice to see it's not just in certain cases. Now, I have seen around the community, not anybody in my like personal Discord or anything like that, but I have seen players talking about getting into raids quickly, sure, but they're getting into raids late. They're loading in with 5 minutes late or 12 minutes late. I don't think there's been anything that's like, oh, the raid timer was almost up, but there have been several that are like, man, there's like 10 minutes missing out of my raid.
hey,
Uh,
if that's what it takes, that's fine.
that was my opinion. I thought that's awesome. I actually like the idea of random spawns between that first 5 to 10 minutes. Does it kind of screw people over on the loot runs? Yeah. Is
Yeah,
everybody loot running? No. Does it
nope.
matter that much? No. So
No,
to
because it'll
me,
even out because one time you'll be the guy who gets in early. Then you know what I mean.
the
Like so,
next time
it'll
you'll be
even out.
late. Yeah, yeah. And to me, it's like, okay, so now that not only solves the load in time, but it also solves that, well, I'm just going to run down that spawn behind me. Oh, there's a spawn here. Let's just chase it
Exactly.
down. Let's just go run this guy down. Because now you don't know if they're there or not. You genuinely might not have anybody in that spawn. And then 5 minutes later, they're in. So
Yeah, we had a whole episode about that a couple
yeah,
weeks ago.
yeah.
It's like
Well, I
it was a
finally started
problem.
abusing it. And like, I've always known people abuse it, but I didn't realize how aggressive you could be with it. Like, I didn't realize that you could just, and I should have, right? A quick look at the map shows you how close the spawns are. It's just in my mind, in the way I want this game to play out, organic, natural fights. I want to be moving through the map. I want to be progressing towards something and just happen upon somebody. I don't want to go chase down spawns. So I never really thought about how easily you can manipulate that, right? Depending on where you spawn, you just decide like, okay, I spawned over by Path to Shoreline on Lighthouse, and I know there's a guy potentially on the rocks above me to the right, and then we have somebody at Chalet too. So I would either just A, stand still, wait till I hear a shot, which determines which way I go, or B, just push one of the two because there's going to be somebody rotating through. And Lighthouse is kind of probably the most awkward map to do that on. But even
Yeah,
though the
yeah,
fact that you can do it on a map like Lighthouse that should have a little bit more broken up spawns distance wise, um, speaks volumes on the fact of every other map that's much easier to manipulate your spawns on. So it is one of those things that I think is great for that purpose. But
yeah.
yeah, dude,
Well,
the next
Tarkov's
thing. Oh,
misleading
God,
in one way. Um, the size of the map is misleading
for
because
sure.
they feel huge, But if you think about it, like say you're on shoreline, you can make it from like weather station to road to customs in like under 2 minutes.
Oh, a
If you
minute and a
just
half
full
for sure.
fledged run,
Yeah.
yeah, you can get there in like under 2 minutes, and that's a large portion of the map. That's like a quarter of the map almost.
Yeah.
So it's like you maybe not quite that much. Maybe it's like a fifth of the map, but you think about
It's a
that, and
decent
it's like
size. Yeah.
yeah, so it's like if someone's like spawning in 30 seconds to a minute later, like you can pretty much be on top of them even if they're that far away.
Yeah.
And it just shows you like no matter how far away spawns are, if you really want to abuse it, you probably still can. Like there's probably still ways to, end up in
Oh,
a
it's
better situation
absolutely.
off
Even
spawning.
on updated shoreline spawns, you can still
Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
absolutely
no
run
matter
some
what,
people
because
down.
even though the maps are huge, your player actually gets across them pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, path to lighthouse to resort, from resort to weather station, like that's if you're just running and checking spawns or checking shots, like that's only a few minutes of your raid. You're gonna have so much time left just to be able to move around and do stuff. And I think that's a lot of it too, though, is the fact that most players, the average player, wants these raids to break down organically. They don't want to have to worry about who spawned to their left, right, in front, behind, whatever. They want to be able to move. I want to go to weather station, potentially run into somebody there, and if not, I want to creep over to resort, because it's the way the game makes you feel when you're doing these things. When you get to that level of like understanding the maps in a way that you can just break down where the spawns are. Well, if I spawned here, our next closest should be here. We can just cut them off here, here, here. That kind of changes the flow of the raid entirely for what you're doing. I'm going to focus on those first two spawns. If I see somebody, sweet, I get a firefight or I get a free kill. And if not, then I'm going to go push towards my tasks. Where previously, and for the average player, you spawn in, you're like, oh, okay, I spawned here. Where are my tasks at? That's the route I'm going to run. So it changes so much when you are abusing the spawns, which I don't want to like go into a huge conversation on this, even though we already have. But like it can be a problem, but it is one of those things. Like if people are loading in late, we're absolutely, within
Yeah.
that first 10 minutes at least, that absolutely breaks up how these spawns are played, which is a good thing in my opinion. I know a lot of people
Well, and
dislike the idea, but I think it's great.
you're still gonna have cheaters and like super Chad PvPers like rush other spawns. That's still gonna happen
Yeah, that'll never
regardless.
change. Yeah.
But I feel like this definitely helps the problem out. It should be less often that you run into that kind of thing.
Yeah. And to be fair, I'm not in your raid every single time. The guy just like me is not in your raid every single time. A lot of the raids that you're going to have are going to break down naturally. You're not going to have people like me and all these other, runners that just want to like fight PvP now. And I don't know when it happened, but I've changed from like this, I want to move relatively slow and like do the thing, to I just want to fucking fight. And that's all I've been doing. I just full sprint everywhere I go right now. And I'm just like running people down. That's all I want to do. I don't know why. I don't get it. Sometimes I just go through these
Alright.
phases. Even when we used to play together all the time and we were like religiously moving slower, methodical play. Every now and then I'd even tell you like, man, I just want to go to factory and fight some people. I want to go to reserve and fight some people. You know what I mean? So like it always happens. I
Yeah.
always get that itch. And it's just kind of fun to just like switch it up a little bit every now and then, especially on, dude, I've spent so much time on Lighthouse these last like week, just doing tasks, trying to unlock Lightkeeper and everything else. Playing slow on that map gets very old very quickly, and it's turned into, well, if I die, who gives a shit? Just run it back. Like, let's keep going. But yeah,
Well,
it's
when you're trying to do missions, it's like eventually after you do them so many times, you just get to the point you just want to fight. It's like
yeah, yeah.
it's
It's gonna
easy to
happen either
do.
way. Yeah,
Yeah. But
but
yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
yeah, yeah. I don't want to go in. We've had these conversations too many times.
Yeah, yeah, we can go forever on this shit.
And I think people already know how we feel about these kind of things. So,
If they don't,
uh,
then I don't know how.
hey, go back and watch some older episodes. You need to
Yeah.
get caught up anyways and see how
Yeah,
things have
we do
changed
learn a
for
lot.
us over time, because they haven't changed a whole lot. Our opinions are still pretty much the same.
Yeah.
The other really cool thing that they did, and I've only had minor issues with it so far. Every now and then it gets a little like janky, I guess, a little blurry as I like it's like motion blur gets turned on or something. But DLS 4.5 with preset M, yeah, preset M runs great. Absolutely phenomenal. I'm getting better frames. My game looks crisp and clean. Everything looks solid. I'm very happy with it. It does seem like my color settings might have gotten mixed up a little bit. I don't know if DLS 4.5 had anything to do with like color variations or
It
maybe
should
mess with
change the
gamma or
colors.
brightness, but it feels darker than normal. I don't know, maybe, you know, a driver update or something I've done has changed something, but it's just one of those things. Like, it's a little bit darker than it normally is. Not a big deal, but DLSS 4.5 runs awesome. It's very smooth, very clean, and like I said, I've only
Yeah,
had
it
like
looks
minor
great.
issues with it every now and then, and all I seem to need to do to fix it when it does get blurry, usually as soon as I spawn in, it's like a little choppy, a little blurry. I hit escape, I give it a second to load, and then I go back into the game and it's fixed. Like, that's genuinely all I've been doing. And it seems to like take it out of it for whatever reason. I don't know if
Well,
it's just like refreshing that page or what, but
I haven't played since they officially implemented it. When it first came out, I played and was doing it myself. Like I put 4.5 in, but
right, right.
I know there's two presets for 4.5. There's L and M.
Yep.
Um, and some people swear by L, other people swear by M. I was using M. I seem to like it a little better, but like I said, I haven't played with it since they officially put it in the game.
I haven't messed with L. I went straight to M. But I was reading, I was like, oh, 4.5, blah, blah, blah. So I did a quick search, and the people I was reading on were talking about how good M is. And I was like, well, let's try it.
Well, they say M is supposed to be like ultra crisp and like very, very like just good looking, and you're supposed to be able to even run it on like performance mode and it still look great.
Oh,
And
nice.
then
Yeah.
L is kind of more for the more performance, like if you are just looking for better frames, because M drops the frames a little bit compared to past DLSS modes, but still, you know, like it's still performance and better looking game, you know, compared to not using DLSS at all. So,
Right.
and I recommend people because I know a lot of people don't use the DLSS, but it's like if you have a decent graphics card, you know, NVIDIA 3000 or higher graphics card,
Run
use
it.
DLSS.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's such a game
it's so
changer.
much better. Yeah, you get more
Absolutely.
performance. The game, it looks better than just natural game. Like it looks better than no
100%.
upscaler.
Yeah,
It just there's no reason not to use it now. It's gotten so much better. Like people say fake frames, whatever. That's when you say fake frames, you're talking about frame gen. DLSS is just an upscaler. It's just like anti-aliasing any other way. It's no different than just turning on you know, any kind of AA. So use it if you have it or if you can. It's by far better than anything we've ever had. So
for sure. For sure. Let's move on to balancing changes. So changes to weapon attachments, and I do want to cover one thing before we get into this too much, before we talk about the changes that have happened. I want to talk about this patch piece right here. So update 1.0.25 brought significant changes to weapon attachments, which we're getting ready to go over. The changes are split into several stages. That's the big part right there. The first adjustments were to the grips, magazines, muzzle devices, and buttstocks. We are continuing to gather feedback and fixing minor bugs, such as those affecting some gunsmith tasks. So they're doing it in a way that makes the most sense, in my opinion. Implement small pieces of it, fix any major or minor bugs or issues that pop up from it, so nobody's like, oh, this is screwing me over, it's been a month, blah, blah, blah. You know, give them time, let them fix it. If I don't choke and die first, sorry. The
yeah, I've been
next
doing it too.
stages, the next stages will include adjustments to the stats of barrels and handguards, aligning those with the new approach. We will also be addressing the base stats of weapons most significantly impacted by the changes. These primarily include 7.62 by 39 AK models, as well as platforms chambered in 7.62 by 51 and 7.62 by 54R. If necessary, we may also adjust the stats of other weapons too. Another point of our plan is to revise the prices and unlock conditions for every attachment in the game to better align with the new stat distribution. We'd also like to point out that we're taking into account your feedback regarding unsuppressed muzzle flash. We are considering improvements in this area as well. So, now that we've gone over that, let's jump back to the changes to weapon attachments. And all I really wanted to go over that for was because I know there are people who are like, oh, these changes are stupid. Now you're just seeing all this, it's only the same 4 builds over and over and over. Instead of the other 4 builds that were meta, we're getting these meta 4 builds. Sure we are. Yes, that is absolutely true in this moment.
Yeah,
but
temporarily.
it's not the grand scheme of things, and it's not where we're going to see the guns turn into overall. So while I do think we are always going to have meta builds, I think there's always going to be
Always,
parts that
yeah.
shine outright over others. There's also going to be combinations of parts that shine outright better than, or outright other, oh my goodness, that shine outright over others as well. So it's one of those things that you're just always going to have meta guns. Even in the real world, you have parts that are just better. That's just
Yeah,
the way it
yeah,
works. Whether it's based on weight, whether it's based on the actual ergonomics, whether it's based on the where you place it. There's just, red dot versus LPVO ergo wise, like there's going to be
yeah.
differences. That's just the way the
Certain
world
parts are just
works.
made better. Yeah, certain
Yeah,
parts are made with better quality. Like that's
that's
just
also true too.
price
Yeah,
difference. Like it matters. All that shit is
it
real.
does. But that doesn't change that Tarkov is a video game, and they're trying to balance it in a way that we have weapon variety and we have options within those varieties. It's not just going to be the GF Mod 4 and the RK5, RK4, B25, RK or RK20, whatever. The B25U, whatever it's called, the
Yeah,
slanted AK grip.
yeah, yeah. The angle grip.
Yeah, so we are going to see parts that are better, but the thing that they're doing is making these parts more in line with all the other parts,
Yeah,
bringing the ones that kind of suck up to being a good bit better, and bringing the ones that are really, really good down a bit so they're more in line with those. So, if you want, you can still stat build. You can still build your gun based off of ergo, recoil, weight, this, that, this. Fine. But the idea is to get the guns to a place where anything you find in raid, anything you want to use, is viable to use. It will still be a usable firearm. Because overall, outside of adding ways to control recoil, you're not changing the base stats of the gun that much unless we can fully rebuild the guns and focus on weight and recoil and ergo, all that at the same time as we build through it. So when we just get an AK-74 and we slap a handguard, a buttstock, and a foregrip on it, it should be just as viable as anything else that we could build in theory. And that's all they're trying to do. So, changes to the weapon attachments. Adjusted the stats of most weapon attachments, muzzle devices, magazines, grips, and buttstocks. Flash hiders, muzzle brakes, and similar attachments now reduce recoil more effectively. Suppressors, including their combos with various muzzle brakes, now have a smaller impact on recoil. In exchange, their ergonomics penalty has been reduced. So you're getting less of a recoil reduction, but you're getting less of an ergonomics penalty. So all that really did was make it to where running loud muzzle devices makes it much more in line with running suppressed recoil wise. And then ergo, they balance out about the same. I've come to find that the 5.56 flash hider, the Blitz, seems to be like my go-to because I get the good ergo, great recoil reduction, and I don't have to deal with the muzzle blast. And that's like the big complaint around, at least with muzzle devices right now. That's the big complaint I'm seeing the most is like, hey, thanks. Outside of people saying, oh, it's just one meta swap for another. A lot of people are like, oh, great. I like the idea of being able to run loud, but like I can't do anything with it because I can't see past the muzzle blast to get
yeah.
kills. So I just have to run suppressed anyways. And while that is mostly true right now, did obviously say they're adjusting that. But I
Right.
also
They're
think
going
it's
to adjust
fair
that.
to like consider that you're using a muzzle brake and not a flash hider. So I've had no issue with flash because I'm using flash hiders, right?
Well, people just aren't used to it. The
That's true. It is
suppressors
a
have been
big
the
change.
meta
Yeah.
forever, and the fact that you actually can use something different now. And I will say this: it's a huge change, but all guns for a long time since the recoil change have been usable. I watched this guy. Done a test. This was just last week. He just was buying completely stock weapons and going in labs and just destroying people with stock
Right.
guns, putting nothing on them at all, buying them straight from the trader, loading up ammo, not putting anything on them, no sight, nothing. He was going in labs and winning fights with iron sights because he's a good player.
Right.
But
Skill matters.
it just shows you that, skill is still the determining factor. Yes, your weapon can help you in certain situations. As a matter of fact, it does matter. Like
Sure.
there are times where it is going to matter, but most weapons in Tarkov are usable now. Like
Absolutely.
since the recoil was toned down,
Yep.
it brought everything closer in line, and this only seems to do that even more. And I love the idea of being able to use whatever you want, being able to mix and match. make the look of your build the important part, instead of the stats. It's like if you just want your gun to look cool, now you can a little more. And
Yeah, I built my shitty little Colt AR in game. It's always been bad. Now it's just like, yeah, that's pretty usable, you know.
right, it's just a cool thing, like for this game to be able to just bring everything closer in line and be able to use,
It is
because there's
nice.
so many attachments, so many add-ons for every gun. We've even talked about it, like there's so many just parts that never get used. It's nice to see them focus on getting all that, up to snuff because they're in the game already. Like, might as well use them.
Well, I also kind of wonder if with them bringing baseline stats more in line all the way around, if we're actually going to see the importance of like weight and the MOA and stuff come into play a little bit more when it comes to our like, high end builds. I'm wondering if if since stats are going to matter less, if it's going to become more important to, which again, you're absolutely on the money with, just being able to run whatever, however, whenever is the idea. But I am curious how this is going to change the stat building, because as much as I'm for using whatever parts you have and being able to like feel good about that, I love gun builds. You know what I mean? I can't help it. I like seeing the
Yeah,
numbers. I like tweaking and finding how, or tweaking. I like tweaking things and seeing how those things can end up working out with each other and trying different parts with different lineups and weight versus ergo versus recoil and just messing with all that stuff. So I'm wondering if
I
with
think most Tarkov
everything,
players do. Most
yeah,
Tarkov people love that.
it's a really fun aspect of it. All these real world parts. It's like I could actually build this gun. There's a lot of reasons to enjoy it, but it makes me wonder if we will see a shift in how we build guns because of these changes, or if it just turns into, well, now you just run whatever you want, it doesn't matter, which I'm good with either or, but I am, always going to be that stat whore when it comes to gun builds.
I feel like the direction they're going with everything is longevity. And
Sure.
it's like
Yeah.
bring everything as far as, just gameplay with the loading times getting better and, with the stats getting closer in line. I think their main thing is just get Tarkov in a place where everything is usable, everything has a purpose. The game just feels more, just streamlined. It just feels like there's not as much meta. And I think that's basically what they're going for, where just not to shift the meta, from one to the other, like people were saying, but I think they're really trying to just iron out the differences. Just make it to where most things in the game are usable and the
Yeah.
game just plays good. And I think that's, they're just eventually going to sunset Tarkov and they're trying to put it in the best place they can.
Yeah. And I think that it's working for the most part, because out of the
Yeah.
changes they've made so far, I've used nothing that I used to use at all. Like the grips, foregrips, butt stocks, nothing is the same. I'm swapping out parts. And while I like to stat whore, I'm not caring as much. I am just putting things together that I think look cool first, and then if the stats are pretty reasonable, I don't want anything that's like crazy low ergo. That's always going to be a stat that you try to mitigate on the high side. But at the same time, like if it's not as high as it can possibly be, it's not bothering me in any way. And I think a lot of that is just for the fact that like I'm using guns that I've always ran, but I'm building them completely different from how I used to build them. We're getting, different looks and feels all the way around. The people I'm killing are using different stuff. It's a good change. It's a great change all the way around, I think. Moving on from the muzzle devices, we
Well,
have magazines
real
and grips
quick,
and
just have you noticed? I know, like, usually whenever they mess with stats, it usually breaks like certain tasks, such as gunsmith and things. Have you noticed anything like that?
no,
Where
I
like
haven't done any
now,
gunsmith stuff. I'm still on
okay,
14 just sitting there.
okay. And one more thing, the M110 suppressor that came, with
Yeah.
the new SR25, I guess it didn't get changed, and, I guess it's still got the same recoil stats it had.
Ooh,
So people are saying
that's
it
pretty
is,
good.
basically like meta suppressor right now because they didn't change it.
Well, luckily you can really only run it on a couple of setups. So
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
okay.
Just the SR25 because you have to have that adapter piece, for the
Yeah.
M110
Yep.
adapter. So yeah.
SR25 and the RSS? I don't know. I
No,
haven't
no,
messed with the
it'll
RSS.
only
It's just
fit
the
it'll only
SR25.
fit
Yeah.
the SR25, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so like I said, I haven't done any gunsmith stuff. I've been on 14 for probably a month. I just haven't done it yet. Laziness. So I
I
haven't
just know
noticed
anytime
anything. But they
they
did say there were
mess
some
with
issues with
numbers,
Gunsmith and things.
I was gonna say anytime they mess with numbers, it's usually it usually messes up some task, especially specific tasks where you have to get a gun to a specific number,
Certain
like a
standards,
specific
yeah.
recoil or ergo, and it's like there's usually a couple week period where they're going back and finding all that they messed up and patching it. But
Right.
this late into the wipe, I would imagine most people are either done with
Pretty
that
far
task or
into, yeah.
they're so far into the game that they have other stuff they can focus on until this gets fixed.
Yeah, yeah.
If it's even
Uh,
broken, they might have fixed it beforehand, who knows?
right. But for magazines, they adjusted the bonuses and penalties of all existing magazines into a more consistent system. The impact of high capacity magazines on weapon ergonomics has been reduced, and it is noticeable. Load, unload, and check speed modifiers have also been significantly adjusted. Reloading 60s, no matter which type you have, the metal ones feel pretty good for AR. The AK 60s load relatively quickly. The Enforce 60s, the PMags load relatively quickly. The ergo hit that you would typically get is almost it's sub 10. It's like minus 10 ergo at best. You are not getting those massive reductions that we used to get, and it's so nice. I've been running the not the AK-12, it's the AK-74M with 60s in it, and I barely noticed any kind of like, it's not always entirely noticeable with the AKs or M4s. When you throw those 60s in, you can kind of feel the difference in the ergo, but honestly, I
Yeah.
think I almost forget that I'm running 60s half the time. I don't feel that sway. I don't feel the weight. Like it's just not there.
I feel like
Uh,
the reload time was always, like, the biggest, reason that it sucked using those because, it took so long. Like, especially one gun that I always hated using because of that was the P90, because I love the
right.
P90, but those 50-round mags took forever, and I guess people are saying now it's a little bit quicker to reload those now.
Yeah, I haven't used the P90 yet, but I imagine if it's in line with all the other high capacity magazines, it should be good. Magazines that are the only available option for compatible weapons, P90, such as machine gun boxes, now have significantly softer penalties to ergonomics and other stats. So that's also a good change to that. Grips and butt stocks narrowed the stat gap between uh, different pistol grips from grips. Oh my god. Narrow the stat gap between different pistol grips, front grips, and butt stocks. Late game attachments still slightly outperform their budget counterparts, but the difference is much smaller than it was before. We believe this will allow players to make builds based on visual preference, among other things, eliminating the established flow of good or bad attachments. And I agree. We've already kind of went into all the changes made and how the weapons feel and how you're building them out now. So I don't think we need to go like super in depth on this, but it is nice that you earn something like the Grawl or the Ergo Grip and stuff like these. The AK one that's like the Pro Sniper kit or whatever it is. You
Yeah.
earn those through unlocks or however you achieve them. It should be rewarding to throw those parts on. You should see a major difference, not major, but a difference in quality between those parts because it is just a better part, versus something that's just a 2,000 ruble pistol grip that you can throw on, the MOE AR-15 or the MOE AK, pretty cheap pistol grip, solid pistol grip. I run them pretty regularly, but it's not as good as some of the other stuff. And that's how it should be. I think there should be some
Yeah.
variation, and I think you should be rewarded like as you progress into those higher tiers of things. I just don't think that the stat gap should be so steep. And I think that, obviously that's what they're working on now.
Yeah, that was always the biggest problem was, the ones that were good were really good, and they were good, like, by a few points more. Like, if one grip that was decent, it give you +7 ergo, the top of the line was giving you, like, +13, and it
Right.
was like there was always a little room there to close the gap, and I feel like it's just a great change because it makes it to where there's not so much junk in the game. It's like when you find something now, more or less, you're gonna be able to use that, and it's not gonna, like you're not gonna feel penalized because you like the way something looks or
Right.
because only have this and that, you only have access to this and that. It's like, it just takes a part of the game that no one liked, which was, just stupid attachments. Everybody just didn't either pick them up or they just sold them immediately. It takes those and just gives them a place in the game now. And I feel like that's just with so many things in this game, it makes sense to just revitalize the unused parts and just give them a place in the game now.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. Going into fixes, there are a lot of fixes. Some fixes may contain spoilers for story tasks. I don't think I want to read through those. I don't want to
Yeah,
ruin
I
anything for
wouldn't go into
myself or for
those.
anyone else. If you want to
Yeah.
see the patch notes, go to escapefromtarkov.com/news/ID/380, or just go to escapefromtarkov.com or the Escape from Tarkov Twitter. It's all posted there. Hell, even on the launcher, you can just click patch notes. I'm not going to read through all these. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 fixes. Quite a few of them have to do with story stuff. I'm not going to spoil it for myself or for anyone else. Sure, streamers and all that have already gone through it, whatever, people that have escaped, that's fine. If you're cool with learning all this information, go for it. I don't want to spoil anything. I know there's other people that don't want to spoil anything, so we're going to move on. We had some other stuff take place after the patch. So the patch went through, and then I think the same day we had another technical update and fixed an issue where the sprint key press would sometimes not register immediately after pressing the forward movement key. I never ran into that. I don't think anybody I know ran into that, but that's an interesting one. That would really suck. Imagine you're getting shot at and you go to run, and you're stuck. You're not
It just
running. It's
doesn't
like,
work. Yeah.
yeah, that would be a rough one. That would be a
Deflating
rough
to
one.
say the least.
Yeah, yeah. And then fixed an issue where it was sometimes impossible to turn in tasks while in raid. Again, I never ran into that. I think that's focused on like story progression stuff, maybe through BTR too. But again, I never ran into that, or none of my people ran into it. So, other than that, we have some arena changes. There are arena patch notes that we can go over right now. There's a couple things I want to touch on before, if I can find it. Okay, here it is. In the upcoming patch 0.4.3, Ref's task line to Great Heights in Arena will be reworked. The main changes are tasks can now be accepted and completed in both EFT and EFT Arena without needing to relaunch either game. So when you finish
My
Great
God,
Heights
that's
Part
great.
1, you can just click Turn In, and then you can
That's
click
so great.
Accept Task, and you can keep doing Great Heights instead of going back and forth from
Yeah.
fucking Arena to base game, Arena to base game, Arena to base game
It
after
was
every
so
3
needed, man.
matches. Dude, yeah, huge change that makes the world of difference, and I'll never have to do it again, at least until the seasonal reset, because we already got it done a
Well,
long
I
time
mean,
ago. But
it makes sense because both games are, they feed off each other. You do something in Tarkov for Ref, it carries over to Arena. So it always made zero sense that you couldn't just accept each
accept and
task
turn in
from
tasks, yeah,
whichever game. Yeah, it
yeah,
made no sense. You had to switch back and forth. So
yeah.
I always thought like they have to get this in line where it's like you can just do it on whichever game. So glad to see them taking that step because it needs to get to where you never have to switch.
Yeah, yeah. Um, Major change, great change. Rubles for the task to Great Heights Part 4 can be transferred in both EFT, Arena, and EFT, which just goes along with the task being able to be completed and accepted. Adjusted the task rewards and objectives, added new added new tasks to the task line. If you do not complete to Great Heights Part 5 before patch 0.4.3, your progress will be reset to the first task in the chain. You will receive compensation in EFT Arena. These changes will not affect players who have already completed to Great Heights Part 5. So for the Arena patch notes, there's really only a couple things that are kind of important. We're not going to go through each and every individual piece, but there are some, topics to touch on. So for match history, they added a new option, match history, allowing players to view detailed statistics of their matches. You go into your match history is available in the history tab on the career screen. Matches played within the last 6 months are saved into match history. 12 most recent matches are loaded at a time with scroll support. In match history, players can view general statistics, game mode, map, date, match results, kill-death ratio of match participants, as well as match MVP. In addition to general information, match history displays match details, experience gained, money earned, headshot percentage, accuracy, devices planted and deactivated in blast game mode, objectives captured in checkpoint mode. Match history does not display invalid or custom matches. Pretty cool little deal there. I think it could be a little bit I don't want to say more because I'm very happy with what we have. I think what they did was enough. What's the word? I think it could be a little more expansive. I think that I don't really know what I want from it, but it feels a little lackluster in my opinion. While I am grateful for a match history, I just feel like that something's missing, and I don't really know what it is, if I'm being completely honest with you.
Well, I hope that they're going to continue to evolve and keep adding things because you can always add more information. You can always add, like how many shots you shot, like how many hits you had, how much
Oh,
damage you did, like get in depth with it.
right, right. I know what I was thinking of. The profile viewer. While it is a new thing you can do, I think it needs to be in the match history. I think you should be able to right click on the person's name and view their profile.
Absolutely.
That's
Yeah,
what it was.
absolutely.
Because it's like you sure, knowing someone's name is cool, awesome. I know that I got in a fight 3 times or 3 different matches with Stinky Pete, like cool. But I want to
Right.
be able to right click on Stinky Pete and see why he's Stinky Pete,
Right.
I
Just
want to
like in
know, like,
Tarkov.
is he that good or was he just having a cracked match? Like, I
Yeah.
think that kind of
Like
stuff would just be cool.
it's like you get in a great fight in Tarkov, you die, or even after the game, you can right click on the opponent and see them, see what
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
their stats are, see what they were rocking. Like it just, it's such a good feature. And I hope that they eventually, I imagine they will eventually just bring it to Arena because it just
That's
seems
true
like
too.
that's the direction it's going. Like it's flowing that direction.
Well, that's a change that I hadn't really thought of either is, when you do get to look at these players' profiles, you see what kit they're running. And if you
Yeah.
see the, profile for that match, well, okay, well, we were both running the MCX. Why was his like shredding me and I felt like I couldn't hit a shot? Oh, well, he has a much better build than I do, clearly. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing on these gun builds. Why does he have the 3-port barrel adapter? Why does he have this suppressor over this suppressor? Things like that. So it does add a lot of value being able to see that profile. And sure, I don't want to click on every single person's name that I've had a match with and look at them, but there's times where I play against some people that are like cracked. I mean, absolutely
Yeah.
insane. I would love to see what they're running, how they're running, what their kit looks like, why they have armor set up the way they do, what kind of armor they're running. Does it actually make a difference? Well, clearly it does, I just think that you could add more to it and make some progress that way. They did add the profile viewer, but again, it's not attached to the match history screen. It's based off of, oh my gosh, added a new option, profile viewer or view profile, allowing players to view information about other players. To view your own or another player's profile, right click the player's nickname and select view profile. Cannot be viewed during an ongoing match. View profile, screen displays a brief player statistical overview similar to EFT, but adapted to EFT arena specifics. Below the player statistics panel, there is a rare achievements panel. That is cool, getting to see achievements and things. And it is a very useful tool. And I think I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure it definitely is in match history. Player's
Oh yeah.
profile
Yeah.
can be viewed in
Oh,
pre-made
okay.
group,
It's already there.
group invite window, chat window, friends list, match history. Okay, so
Okay.
ignore what I was bitching about. Apparently, I just didn't try. I could have swore I was right clicking and like, why can't I view there? Maybe not.
Well,
Maybe
like I
I'm
said,
crazy.
regardless, it's all pointing in those directions. Like everything seems to be headed in like you want information, you can now get it, and you
And
can
that
get
is what
like
matters.
whatever you want.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And that
and
is
it
what
just seems
matters.
like with the base game and arena, all the updates are heading that direction, and it's just it's good quality of life stuff that I'm happy to see.
Well, Tarkov's an extreme game where when you die, you die.
Yeah,
You don't get a lot of information off death. Even if you see the person you're fighting, there's still a lot of stuff in the air, I guess, and more so when you don't see the person you're fighting. In an arena,
yeah. There's no
there's a
kill
lot of
cams
questions. Right.
or anything where you can just watch it back and be like, "Oh, yeah, look, I see exactly where he was or what he
Yeah,
did or
yeah.
how he did it." So
Yeah,
it's like
outside of
you
recording your own
rely
deaths
on
and
that
looking through them,
information.
right. And in arena, it's the same thing. You do have kill cams in some regards, in some matchmaking, but not in everything. And even then, some of them kill cams don't really break down exactly what happened, where, you know, you can get a lot of information based off of what that player's running, what they have on, how they're running their kit, and everything else. They did make some changes. The PPSH 41 received one additional progression level. Level 2 unlocks the drum magazine. Level 3 unlocks the golden TT. For some reason, the golden TT's in the game now. I didn't know that. That's cool. The Atomic Defense CQCM Black Ballistic Mask is now available to all classes. So level 3 face mask for everyone. All CQCM mask variants are now fully identical in stats to the Atomic Defense CQCM. I never understood why they were different. When it was a level 4 face mask and level 3 face masks, it made sense.
Yeah.
There was a difference in the face mask. But when they brought it to level 3 and there was still some stat differences, it just didn't make a lot of sense. All variants of the DevTac Samurai Minpo mask and the Work Peak Training mask can now be worn together with helmets. That makes me so happy, dude. I love the Minpo mask, but like you can only wear it with like the Ushanka hat and things like that. So that's a good one. Changes to the in-game task line to Great Heights. This is one that most people are going to care about. You can now accept and complete the task and task line from both EFT and EFT Arena. Ruble transfer for the task to Great Heights Part 4 is now available in EFT and EFT Arena. Adjusted the task rewards and their objectives. Added new tasks to the task line. I think it goes to like Part 6 now, which maybe it already had. I don't know. I like I said, I have had Great Heights done for months. I mean, I think within the first 9 days of 1.0, I already had Great Heights done. So it's just one of those things that I have no idea what's going on with that task. But hey, that's cool. On to fixes.
I even have it done, and I didn't even play it.
Yeah, you had it done pretty early on too.
Yeah. You pretty much have to if you want to use ref, you know.
Yeah. Like you already have to go to like part 4 or something to unlock it, or part 3 or part 4. I think it's part 4. So why not just finish it out and then go do the other ref tasks? Not only do you get the ref utilization, you get the arena armband, you get the theta container, and you get a shit ton of XP from doing the entire ref task line. It is a lot. It's definitely worth doing. Onto the fixes. They fixed an issue where match results would occasionally not appear after completion in certain modes. You ran into that all the time. Fixed an issue where using medical items and the resupply crate at the same time could cause the weapon to not reappear in the player's hands after using medical items. So I just always assumed when I hit either the refill crate or my meds, I was not hitting the other one because I already know how Tarkov gets. So to me, it just always made sense. Do one, then the other. Don't try to do them both. Don't be like popping an AFAC and trying to refill your mags. Like, it ain't worth it. It is not worth it. Don't do it.
I've always struggled with multiple input.
Yeah.
It just has never been a good combination.
So just avoid that one. Even after they fixed it, I'll probably never do it. Like, it's just one of those things I just don't risk it. I don't risk it.
It's like reload the mag and vaulting at the same time. It's like they put you in just a 2-second like just
freeze state. Yeah. Fix the player mute resetting at the start of a new match. I have had matches, especially when you're running like a specific game mode over and over and over. Not saying anything negative about this person, but the one sticking in my head is Jexy. I played Checkpoint yesterday all day or all night, whatever it was, and every single match aside from like my last 2, I had Jexy in my matches all over and over and over again. So it's like that one person always ends up standing out. I'm sure there were more, but it's still, had he been on my team more than, a few times and he was yapping a lot and I needed to mute him, I would expect him to stay muted the entirety of the time, not after every single game I have to reset. So that is good that they fixed that. Fix the incompatibility between the champion helmet and the M32 headset. I didn't know that you were supposed to be able to wear the champion helmet with the M32 headset, but that's cool. Fix the incorrect display of in-game currency balance after making purchases in the armory. No idea what that's about. Fixed an issue causing the announcer's voice lines to cut off at the beginning of a match. Other fixes. That's the best one there. Other fixes.
When you have more stuff you did, but you don't have time to write down what they were.
Yeah, for real. So we went over the grips and stuff. The patch they updated us on, just saying like, hey, I know you guys don't like these weapon changes. We're making more. It's all going to get balanced out. Please give us time. As usual, that's just, the way it goes. We have a new community digest after, I don't even know how long, dude. It feels like it's been a while.
Been a while. since
So
like a month before 1.0 was like the last one we had, I think.
has it been that long? Yeah,
I think so.
that sounds about
I
right,
think so.
dude. That's crazy. Um, so EFT Q1 to Q2, we have client performance optimizations in and out of raids and a calling system update. Awesome. Raid reconnect system rework. I hope that they get this right. The raid reconnect has to be fast if not instant, right? It has to be fast
Yeah.
if not instant.
I'm
In-game
holding on to that
events.
instant because Nikita even mentioned that, so I'm
Yeah.
holding
Yeah,
on
he
to it.
said almost instant, right? Like almost instant were
Yeah.
his words. In-game events. So not only do we have potentially, which very soon, the icebreaker event, but there's an S at the end of that. So potentially more than just the icebreaker event, along with who knows what other events we still have in the line that could potentially be coming out soon enough. So exciting to see that there's more than just one event coming. We also have like the 100% boss spawn rotation that seems to be happening. Maybe that's one they're considering an event. We typically look at it like an event. And then
Yeah.
we
I
have,
mean, hopefully it's permanent, like they made it. It seems like one of those things where it's like that's a change that we can have all the time. Always have
yeah,
rotating bosses at 100%. It's such a good change. They did it before, then took it away. Hopefully they leave it in from here on out, and it looks like that's what they're doing.
yeah, I hope so. It doesn't make sense to pull that one out. I mean, players
Yeah.
want to fight bosses. It adds so much PvP value when the bosses are 100% because the players that really want to kill those bosses 15 times, 100 times, Mr. Killa, you know. So it just
Well,
kind of forces more and more players into each other, which is always good.
and it's just it's balanced because it's only one boss at a time. So it's like you don't get that unbalanced feeling of 100% bosses everywhere. So there's gear just everywhere all the time. You can actually go to certain maps and still complete your task without worrying about bosses all the time. And where it rotates weekly, it's like even if you do have a map that you really don't want to go to because the boss is there, give it a week and now you can go to your map. It fixes all the problems with 100% bosses all the time, and it
Yeah,
gives you the ability to still find bosses that you need for task. If there's a certain task you got to kill a boss, just wait for them to be in rotation, and now you get as many chances as you want. And it's
exactly.
it's a good change that it takes the 100% bosses and it just makes it thought out and makes it a thing that all players can use when they need to.
And while I don't do this, I will throw it out there for anyone that hasn't realized it yet. I'm sure most people have. If you want to fight a boss, but you don't want to PvP the entire time, you're trying to get completion for, your achievements or whatever, you can server hop. There are dead servers versus active servers. Like absolutely. Colombia and all these other places you can jump around on depending on what time of day it is. You can look at these things. You can avoid the massive amounts of PvP that are going to be pushed at you. Personally, and I think this is how you should look at it too, PvP is good. Those fights make you better. Those rushes to the boss aren't as fun if you're not rushing against other players. So while, I will say there are ways that I know some players are just going to want to get the achievements, there's ways you can abuse it and get it done. I still think you should potentially just push for the PvP side just because it's that much better, in my opinion.
Well,
Now, when
some
it comes
people
to
just
Killa,
suck. And it's like they can't win PvP, and it's like once you die 13 times in a row,
right.
you either quit playing the game or you find a way to
You
just
find a
run.
way. You find a way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Well,
for
it's
those
like,
people, I get it.
yeah, and the Killa hunt, dude. I don't want to kill Killa 100 fucking times. I also don't want to have to run interchange against 1,000 other players while I'm trying to kill Killa 100 times. I'm already gonna die 97 times, maybe more. Why not just jump around a little bit and try to make it work? I don't do that. Again,
Well, I
I
will say
like
this.
PvP. I like fighting, and I just think it's natural. Like this is the server I'm on. I'm not taking my time to swap out of it and do this, that, and the other. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah, I've never played anything except like the
NA
closest
East,
best
boys, is
ping
where we're at.
server.
Come get it.
Yeah, and here's the thing I don't understand: Tarkov raids aren't supposed to start until they're full. So I never understood how you could just switch like areas
Jump
and
servers
get
and
a
get an
empty
empty
raid
raid. Right.
because the server itself is not supposed to start until it's full,
Yeah.
regardless.
Technically,
And
no matter where you are, you should always
yeah,
have a
it
full
should be a full
raid.
server. And
Yeah.
I've never understood. Are you just going to places where people are
Well,
less PvP hungry? Like, is that what it is?
Well,
Or
no,
are there really empty servers?
there really are empty servers. There really are. I was helping a buddy, a fellow Sherpa the other day. I had to server hop with him to get. He needed co-op extracts. The easiest way for us to do it was for us to load into Colombia. I didn't really care in that scenario because all I'm doing is literally loading into a scav raid, running to this co-op extract, and getting out. And when he was jumping in these servers, it's like 2 to 3 a.m. for them. While yes, there are other players in there, it's way less populated or completely fucking dead. And I think the reason for that is like BSG has to understand they have players all throughout the world, and some of those regions are just less populated. They don't have as many players. Maybe it's a poverty thing. Maybe it's just a time of night thing. Maybe it's just hey, these guys don't play Tarkov for whatever reason. Maybe it's like, oh, they're all into Counter-Strike or something, so that's just all they do down there. I don't know what their reasoning is for not playing Tarkov or not being on Tarkov or why those servers aren't filled, but I do know for a fact there are empty servers and they will load just a player or two in them. And we know that's kind of true too from watching some content creators and streamers who have absolutely for years and years and years abused the fact that you can just jump around and get empty servers to get tasking done and be, the first one done on things. So it's definitely happening.
Like I said, I've just always struggled because BSG have always
Yeah,
stated that
rates
that's not
have
the
to be
case.
full. Yeah.
They've always said that's not the case,
I
and
think it's more so
yet
just to try
I've
to avoid
seen.
people from server hopping.
Yeah, I think it's to just it's to discourage people from wanting to do it, but at the same time, I have seen people abuse it for years and
Oh yeah.
years,
Oh yeah.
and
Some major creators
it's
and
obvious that there are definitely servers where you can get in and you can just go everywhere and do everything, and you don't hear any shots, and it's just like,
yeah.
how is that guy running around and not hearing any shots? If I was to do that, I'm in 3 fights already, like,
Yeah.
so it's
Yeah.
like, you definitely see that, so yeah, it's gotta be a thing where, depending, like you said, on area, on player count, there
Time.
there have to
Yeah.
be different rules for
Each
for
region. And I'd say,
each region. Yeah.
some of those regions that are just less populated, they just don't care. They just need the raids to run. Like players wouldn't play in that region at all if they couldn't get in raids. So, you got to give
Where
a little
where it
bit of
may be
sacrifice for it.
where it may be 8 players in the US, maybe their server starts at 4, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
Eh or maybe even after 5
After,
minutes, if nobody
yeah,
joins, you
two or more
automatically get in.
players, 5 minutes in the queue, you're in. Yeah. Like
Right.
who knows? Um, they also, here's another one that I'm pretty excited for: improvements to weapon behavior while aiming. So I don't know if that's like while walking and aiming, or if that's just standard ADS while stationary. I'm not sure, but that seems pretty cool, pretty exciting for that one. And then sound effects for dropped magazines. This one is gonna get me fucking murdered. I'll tell you right
Really?
now, dude. Yeah, I guarantee it. I drop mags constantly. I
Do you
fast
really?
reload way too
I
often.
never
Yeah,
fast
I
reload,
go
never
back and
ever.
catch them. I go back and pick them up. Dude, in some of these firefights, you're rocking like 40s and 60s and shit. Those slow reloads will get you fucked up. But at the same time, I mean, I'm already okay. Let me rephrase. It's probably not going to get me murdered because anytime I'm fast reloading, I'm already in the shit. You know what I mean? So if somebody hears where my
I
magazine drops, who cares? Like they already know where
Yeah.
I'm at. I'm firing at them. I'm unloading. I'm moving. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter where that magazine falls. I was thinking
I
more
look at
so like
this.
when I'm moving around and I do a fast reload in silence. But like, why would I
Right.
ever do that? Like no,
Yeah, if you're getting
not gonna
shot at in
happen.
the middle of yeah, you're not gonna stop
Yeah.
and reload. But the thing I was thinking, this really is great for the people who don't realize their rig's full, they've been looting, and they go to switch mags, and they don't realize they dropped a mag.
Right.
Now you'll actually hear that mag drop instead of
That
have
is
to look
true.
into your inventory and realize, "Oh, shit, I dropped a
Go to
mag that
reload
had
it and yeah.
half a mag of M62 in it, and, now I gotta go back and find it." It's like,
Right.
now you'll hear it.
Yeah, that it is a good change. I think so. And I was a little worried, but realistically, the only time I fast reload is again when I'm moving quick already, when I'm trying to,
Yeah, you're not sneaking
be a
around.
PvP chud. Um, so moving on from that, before we get to the
Imagine
arena
sneaking
changes,
around fast reloading.
fast reloading while you're being quiet. Yeah, it
You
makes
ain't got a
perfect sense,
reason
dude. That's what I
whatsoever.
do. Yeah,
Playing all
primary.
stealthy,
Yeah.
taking sniper shots, laying on a rock, and fast reloading your sniper.
Clink, 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 clink. Yeah.
Get up and there's just a pile of mags laying where you.
Yeah. Primary focus and goal: faster loading times, improved performance, and overall technical stability. Always good to see that. We know for the next 6-8 months, if not longer, optimization and performance are the main goal here. They are doing
Yeah,
some other really
update
cool stuff behind
continuity.
that, but yeah, they're doing
Yeah,
awesome. EFT Arena Battle Pass Season 2 release in Q1. So these changes that I'm about to mention are all coming very, very soon. Battle Pass Season 2 release, new tactical map, integration of EFT 1.0 changes to EFT Arena. That means the new weapon builds, all the new parts, all the new stuff, everything from 1.0. Hopefully, this means the Marlin, the
yeah. I was gonna
AK-308,
say all the new
the
weapons, all the new ammo,
yeah, all the new guns, all the new ammo types, all that.
all the
Shootout.
attachments, which is big. That's gonna be a
Yeah,
lot of
yeah, dude. The
new
weapon builds are
attachments.
gonna, dude. The MCX is gonna fuck once these parts are out.
Oh yeah, dude.
Shout out,
Random Blackout's already
shout
good.
out. Shootout 2.0, audio engine improvements, new task line, new weapon tasks, DLSS 4.5. So the new weapon task that they had teased a while back, I thought was being introduced with the patch we just got. Apparently that's coming a little bit later. And I was kind of tripping because I was like, listen, you guys make these patch changes and I still have to do the same 3 requirements when you changed everything else to just 2. So fix it, please. And that was me being dumb, not realizing that this was a future patch they were talking about. No idea what the new task line is or how it's going to work or what it's going to be for. Should be pretty cool though. Looking forward to it. Shootout 2.0, and then there's
That's what I was
another.
gonna say. I'm curious to see what that's gonna be. What Shootout 2.0 is gonna look like.
Yeah, I am too. And then they also said they are working on getting the overrun mode, which is over in this conversation, the EFT Arena Q&A, most important questions. Are there any plans to introduce PvE modes in EFT Arena? We are preparing an update for the shootout mode, sick. In addition, a new unique mode called Overrun is currently in development. They're also working on damage registration. They're working on the EFT and EFT Arena synchronization stuff, which for the most part is kind of fixed. I know some players still have some issues, but overall not. Can we expect the return of ranked system this year? Yes, the ranked gameplay mechanics will be completely reworked. Didn't really say it'd be this
Nice.
year, but I assume so. We're also having the introduction of the apparel for EOD edition. Again, looks
Yeah, we
cool.
went
Hopefully,
into
there's
that
more
last
to
week.
it. Yeah, I'm not going to go any more further than that. We have another look at the top 5 for the art contest, and
Yeah, those were all cool.
that is pretty much everything. I do want to speculate real quickly. Do you think the overrun mode is going to be our Tarkov zombies? You think that's what we're going to have? Or do you think it's going to be like a boss clearing, like wave after wave after wave? You're going to get like raiders, rogues, bosses, this,
Yeah,
that, and the
I
other.
think that's what it's gonna be because that they had already talked about that mode for a while, that eventually we were gonna get, like, waves of scavs, and then once you clear certain waves, you have to fight bosses. Like, like you said, it goes, like, scavs, then raiders, then bosses. That's been rumored for
Cultists
quite
and
a
yeah.
while, so I believe that's probably what it is. It makes sense to overrun. It sounds
Right.
like it,
It
you know what I
sounds
mean?
like it.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, so
And they've
I
already talked
and
enough like
people.
zombies is coming to base game. We're going to get like a zombies mode in base game, is what it
Right.
sounds like.
Well,
So,
and right there, they responded to, "Are there gonna be any PvE modes?" So that was their answer to, "Are there gonna be PvE?" And that
right,
is a
right,
PvE
right.
mode. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
you
for sure.
versus the AI. So it's good for Arena to have something like that when you don't feel like just sweating your ass off. You wanna go just chill, but you also wanna get weapon progression. You also wanna,
Yeah.
complete some tasks. It's like, give people a way to do it without the most sweatiest of sweat ways to do it.
New dailies and weeklies for these new game modes as well. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
won't have to
Add them
just beat our heads
into
into those things. Pretty cool.
Give those an option in the ref task line. It's like you've
Yeah.
already integrated ref into PvE mode, so give these PvE players
Tasks.
some PvE
Yeah.
specific tasks. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think Arena has some very promising stuff coming in Q1. Like I said, that's all coming very soon. These are all changes that are happening like what Q1 ends the end of this month or the end of next month, something like that. The end of next month. So within 5 weeks, 6 weeks, we're gonna have some pretty major changes, not just in Arena, but base game has some pretty cool stuff coming too.
Yeah. A lot of
We know
good
we have
changes.
Icebreaker coming and some other things like that. So a lot of cool content coming up. We're excited for it. Looking forward to that.
Um,
Let's move on to.
this this is off topic real quick. Just one thing I want to say real quick. I just want to give a shout out to Tiggs. His video where he was the first to escape from Tarkov has officially hit 1 million views.
Oh,
That's
that's
awesome.
sick.
Yeah,
Congratulations, man.
just wanna congratulate him on that.
Yeah,
That's
that's
crazy.
awesome.
A video from 3 months ago on Tarkov hitting 1 million views on
Yeah,
YouTube.
as Tarkov YouTubers, we kind of see how it goes. Like you'll have a standout video or two or three or seven or whatever, and they will trickle up, but they usually get like the majority of their viewage, and I'm sure that's the case for most content on YouTube. You know, within the first month or so, they get their peak viewage, and then whatever came out next from that creator is kind of popping next. So for something to have longevity over 3 months, something that
Yeah.
hundreds, if not more, have already put videos out on and guides on and this, that, and the other. But the first one through got a million views. Like that's just really cool. It's really, really cool.
Yeah. It's
Congratulations,
not
man.
easy to do.
No, not at
On
all.
YouTube, it's not the algorithm is crazy, it's weird. You see people that are at 500,000 subs still only getting a few thousand views on videos. Like, it's rough out here, so the fact that
For
that hit
sure.
1,000,000, it also just tells you that there's still a very high interest for Tarkov content.
Absolutely.
Like, you
It's just the
you wouldn't
right
hit a
Tarkov
million
content,
views.
right?
Yeah, you wouldn't hit a million views on a video if it wasn't. And I mean,
Yeah.
other Tarkov shorts and shit, do like 3,000,000, 5,000,000 views, but those are
Sure.
shorts,
And those
that's
are over
a lot more
time and
common. Yeah,
right. Yeah, congratulations, Tiggs. We don't agree on a lot of topics, but you're definitely a skilled player.
yeah,
You definitely know your
well
shit,
deserved.
and you're definitely one of those ones that I do still appreciate watching. Um, but yeah, let's move on to this. We have two new Nikki leaks this week, and this one that we're about to watch is the newest, and then we'll go into the one that's a little bit older. Looks like a new pistol, honestly. I'm not 100% sure. I can't really tell. I don't know pistols that well. If it's not a Glock, I don't want it.
I
But
think
it
that's
has
the
a
M9.
hammer. I was gonna say it has a hammer. It might be a Beretta, yeah.
I think that's the M9A3, I think.
Maybe.
Maybe not. Maybe it's a
I'm not
different
sure.
version of it?
Again, I don't know pistols that well, especially
Yeah,
just
so
at a
many
quick
look so
glance.
similar.
Right. It's got a hammer. It's got a rounded slide on it. I'm not really sure. Your barrel sticks out slightly. It looks like it's probably threaded. I genuinely I can't really tell. It doesn't really. It could be the 19. It could be a 1911 variant. Maybe it could be an M9A3. I'm not really sure. We'll see in the future on that one. And then we have a look at some new rigs. I don't know if these are Black Division rigs or what the deal is. This is not the CPC Mod 3. I can tell you that much. Because this has a butt pack on it. It looks like not like armor per se, but like a butt pad, like your seat. Maybe a drop pouch or something. But I know like in the Ukraine Russia war right now, they use literal butt pads to sit down on and lean into and things like that. And it kind of looks like that's what it is. I could be wrong. It could be a pack, but we'll see. But this is definitely some rig that I don't recognize, or it's a rig that we have that they've added variants to.
Let's say it looks familiar, like the bear
It
patch
does,
and
like
the
yeah, the front of it here looks very familiar. I kind of
yeah.
think it might even be oh man, what's that rig called? It's like the MK12 or something. MK.
Yeah, I can't think of the name, but, it looks like one
It
we
might
have,
be
but
a rig we have. This could be Battle Pass Season 2 variants too.
that's
Look
what I
at
was
all
gonna
these
say, it's a variant of it.
collar options down below too. That's pretty interesting. Yeah, that's definitely a rig in game already. It's got the carabiner on it. This is absolutely a Tarkov rig that we already have. This is a season 2 change. I guarantee it. This is for
Yeah.
arena. Yep. These are the exits for or not terminal. The exits for icebreaker. Not necessarily like, oh, this is how we exit, but this is like the exit signs, I would imagine. Potentially even just like paint and arrows and all that stuff, because there's always like labs in the garage has the directions in the basement and all that kind of stuff. They have the arrows on the floor, they have directional, they have exit signs above every doorway and this, that, and the other. So I think this is just a general layout of where things should go and what should be here, maybe what markers to put where. But this is one thing I do want to point out that is relatively interesting, at least to me, based off what I'm seeing and what I'm thinking. Are these cells? These are individual rooms. These could just be bedrooms. I don't want to like take it too far. My first thought was like jail cells with like middle storage areas potentially, and then these are just like some cells or something, and maybe like we're fighting like some prisoners. I don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
just throwing out ideas.
depending on the ship itself, if it's like a warship, these are probably just bunks, or if
Could
it's
also
like a
be that,
cruise
yeah.
ship, it's just like hotel rooms,
Rooms,
like,
yeah.
yeah, it could go either way.
Yeah, that's true. Probably more in line with that, I would say. It just kind of
Yeah, I
had a
mean,
central layout of like,
well, it
uh,
looks similar, like, to a prison, it really does, like, you got your main hall, and then you got your individual cells, so, yeah, I can see what you're saying.
but at the same time, it's a ship. It only has so many layout designs, so it's kind of hard to tell. Another look at their live action stuff they're recording. We assume it's just for
I was gonna
terminal
say, I assume
stuff.
it's those same guys from last week running through the
Yeah,
snow.
the terminal trailer stuff is what I imagine they're setting up. This is either an updated labs or they've got like a medical spot set up on terminal or on icebreaker. Not the best look, but right here you can clearly see this is not labs, right? Unless they've
No.
done some major overhaul to labs and it's coming up in one of these other like Q3 or something, which I don't think is the case. I would like to see a labs rework. I think that would be interesting just to switch it up a little bit. But labs is so iconic for what it is and the layout that it does have. I think it would be a shame to switch it up. But this has
Well,
like
and these medical tents,
sandbags.
I was gonna say, these
Yep.
medical tents are used on several maps, like, if know Factory pretty well, this
That's
almost this
also
exact
true.
layout is used on Factory, also on Interchange, so it's like,
That's also
this
true too.
definitely
Yeah.
could be any map.
I do want to point out that the ceilings here are a little bit different than what we typically get with the ceilings for these medical tents. Like this is
Yeah, it
like an
seems more padded.
inflated, like yeah, yeah. Uh, maybe end of line actually. Now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, it could be end of line. All right, is this
New face.
a new face for USEC or Bear, or is it
God, I hope
B?
so.
Is it B, the new boss's face?
That's possible too. But I tell you what, we need faces like that for our character, because that face right there looks 10 times better than any of the current ones that you can pick.
Yeah, dude. Even if
Like,
they went through and just updated the old faces, that would be
they
better.
need to, dude, because they
Dude, they're so
all they
bad.
it all
They're
looks like the
so
same
bad.
guy, just different variations of the same guy. The
Yeah.
detail is so, like, meh on everything. Like,
Yeah, no, you're right.
it's like they really need to change that shit. But yeah, I don't know. That definitely could be a boss. I could see that being a boss, because all the bosses, whenever you pull their either face mask or their helmet off, they have a pretty detailed looking face. And it's
Right.
like even Killa. It's like when you look at Killa, he looks completely like not what you would expect.
No,
But
yeah. Normal. Normal looking
yeah.
face for the engine, for sure. Compared to
So
what we have, yeah.
they definitely have the ability to, give some detailed faces on the characters. So I would love to see that come to actual player creation.
I agree.
But just like with the goons, they
They
all look pretty detailed, pretty different. So it's like I could see this being a boss similar to that.
to be fair, they did say we were gonna have more player customization, so maybe.
Yeah, and I think that's always been something in the pipeline. It just hasn't quite made it to,
It's not a
need
priority,
yeah, need to
realistically.
be done right now type thing. I
Right.
think that's going to be one of the final things.
Maybe even introduce it with the EOD clothing, just like a cosmetic update. Here
Yeah, that'd
we
be cool.
patch
You
this
get
stuff too.
you get a unique face. Like, that would be kind of cool.
It is
Or if they
interesting.
start
I'm
adding
excited to
faces
see.
to, like, Battle Pass, like,
That's
you can
true,
unlock
yeah. You can
faces
unlock
on the
different
Battle
faces,
Pass.
yeah.
Maybe this is like season 2 of the Arena Battle Pass.
There's just a look at an AK with
I was
some
gonna
parts
say,
on it. Like
what was
nothing crazy. I don't think there's any new
start it
parts
from
on
the
it at all.
beginning again.
Oh my gosh, such a fast clip.
That is a new handguard.
Is it?
Yeah, that's a full length MOE.
It's a Zukov, isn't it?
I don't think so.
Looks like
I don't
it.
think the Zukov has those cuts on it.
Ports? It might not.
Yeah,
It might not
maybe it
have the
does,
ports
but
actually. You know what? It
I
might not.
I can't remember, but I thought
That could
that
be a new
Zukov,
handguard.
yeah,
That might be a new handguard. I'd have to
very well
look at
could be.
it
Although,
side by side.
yeah, I
Not
don't run
entirely
that
sure.
very often, so it's like I might just be misremembering because it's something I
I've been
don't
running
run
it on
unless it's early
AKs.
game.
It's somewhat viable right now with the right parts on it.
Yeah, I mean
It's
it
not bad. It's justifiably usable. But no, I don't think that's the Zukov. It could be, and maybe it's just for continuity or not continuity purposes, but for ease of use purposes and ease of rendering purposes, they've changed it slightly. But I'm not sure. We'll have to see on that
Yeah, we'll
one
see.
because
What about that scope?
no, that's an aim
Oh, that's
point
the
or
Russian 2.5x.
yeah, the aim point or whatever it is, delta point, aim
Yeah.
point, something. But yeah,
I
that's
think
the
it's
magnified.
a Russian name. I can't think of it, but it's a 2.5x.
Here's more stuff for the audio rework stuff. Maybe I'm not really sure to be honest with you. I don't know what's going on here. Uh, no idea what this screen actually means. Maybe one
Yeah,
of you guys
that's
that know what's going on in this could break this down to us a little bit because this is the second time we've seen this screen or a screen very similar to this with these same kind of icons and stuff. Is this just icons or is there something more involved? Is it irises and eyes? Is it optics? Is it what? Somebody let us know what this is actually about because there's like a randomize button. That looks like it says like something filter. There's just a lot going on and I don't understand any of
yeah.
it. Just more information that I do not understand. So yeah. And then we have another look at the guys. As you can see, they are on the hovercraft making their way across the snowy land to the icebreaker ship is our assumption.
Yeah, that's a great shot where you can see the windshield through the glasses and see what they're looking at. That's a really good shot.
XLN's audio XO for making music or sounds. Okay, so nothing crazy there. Face and new
Oh, it's an
rig.
audio program. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Interesting. All right, and then for the next Nikki leak, we have no audio. There we go. So more for the icebreaker live action stuff, maybe Chronicles of Rizzy stuff. We're finally going to get a continuation of that potentially. It's one of those two. It's either for the icebreaker trailer, they always do a live action thing for those kind of big events, or it's Chronicles of Rizzy stuff. We have a look at, I'm just going to start assuming this is all into line or icebreaker. This kind of fits icebreaker into line both, I think, in my opinion. I think it could fit either one.
Yeah, for
I'm
sure.
going to go into line. I'm going to put my money on into line for this one.
The pillars make me think maybe the ship,
Right? That was
just
my
because
first
it's
thought.
like, yeah, but then again,
Into
I feel
line's
like
a
it
cave
also does
system. It
fit
could also
into,
have support. Yeah.
yeah.
But it has there it is. It has a really cool layout. This is interesting. Like this is a
Okay,
neat
yeah, I don't
way
think
to
ship
fight through.
anymore.
Yeah, I think this is into
Yeah,
line.
that's almost arena maybe.
It could actually be an arena map.
Yeah,
Could
with the
be
obstacles, the way they're set up and the
yeah.
boxes and like I
And
just
if
feel like
this actually goes nowhere, like there's no second floor, this is all just the first floor and this is just a playable area. Yeah, 100% this is arena. But w-
huh,
that's the thing with these early renderings. We never really know exactly how much
never.
detail is going into it, exactly where it's at, what's buttoned up to it. Is there a floor above it? You know, like there's a million
Well,
questions
it's
with
like
these.
before Arena was around, it was always exciting because it's like you knew it was a new map if you didn't recognize it, or you knew it was an expansion to an existing map.
Right, right.
Now with Arena, it's like majority of
Depending
the
on
teasers we've
layout,
got, yeah, have been like for Arena. Like we haven't
yeah.
got because you think about it, we haven't got a new map since Streets.
Labyrinth, if you count it. Yeah,
Yeah, Labyrinth if you count it, but it's more like an add-on, and
right.
even
It's
Terminal
a dungeon
is more like an
essentially.
add-on,
Right.
uh, and it's, it's not something you see all the time, so it's like an actual new map is something we haven't really seen in a long time.
And that's, on the cards for sure. There have been talks of these new
Yeah,
maps, but we
yeah,
haven't seen them
Nikita's
yet. We
confirmed.
haven't seen teasers for them. Now we do
There are
know,
still,
sure, Icebreaker will be coming. It will be after the event,
yeah,
fully playable, full
it will be
time.
a new map.
And then End of Line, we assume, is probably
Yeah,
very similar.
also a new map.
But we don't. Are those just like you transfer into them, or do we actually load into those raids, or do we have to do something to get to them? Or it just depends on
Yeah,
how they're
are we
brought in, how long they actually are, what the raid timers are, and all those kind of things. So
are we actually gonna get a new spot on the map where you can select,
click,
like, that
select
place,
location,
that
go to map.
'cause
Yeah,
if you remember, there used to be, like, 5 other areas on that map, like suburbs and, like, I can't
I don't
remember what
remember
they
what
were.
they
There was
all
a
were, but
bunch.
yeah, there
Yeah,
were a
but there
bunch.
and
Town or suburbs,
yeah,
and there
town,
was
suburbs, yeah,
there's like a
quite
second
a
half of
few.
streets or something. Like it was called something else, but yeah.
Yeah, the fact that all of them are gone, I feel like there's at least gotta be one of those that we eventually see.
For sure, for sure. I mean, a 5-year lifespan at minimum as of right now. I would imagine, we're gonna get a couple new maps in the long term.
I would hope.
This rig is pretty cool. This is the nighttime LBCR, load bearing chest rig.
Yeah, I like that design.
My favorite rig in the game. I love the LBCR. I like the way it looks. It doesn't like cover up a lot of your drip, so I'm always a fan of it. And you get 2 4
Good
slots.
space. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
it's
space.
solid space. So yeah, this is set
I
up
have
like
those
a
things stacked in
nighttime.
my inventory.
Yeah, that's what I do. I use them for inventory space too. But this looks like it's like a variant camo for night. So maybe we're gonna get a focus on like darker shades potentially, which I think is something we need in Tarkov. Through the arena battle pass, obviously, I think we're gonna get a lot of darker tones, hopefully stuff that helps you set up for nighttime raids. I'd love to be less visible at night. I think that would be pretty fun, pretty interesting. And I just like a lot of the camo looks for the nighttime setup stuff for night ops. You get some really cool patterns. But yeah, another variant for the load bearing chest rig. Another really cool shot of a bear operative. I don't know if this is a new gas or new lower receiver. Jesus, I don't know if this is a new upper receiver
New
or if this
information.
is if this is one that we already have and they're just showing the inner workings of it.
Well, there's an a gun they showed off when 1.0 came out that we still haven't seen, and that was the uh I think it's called the C
The CMNG
whatever.
thing,
No, it's like the CQ. It's basically a semi-auto M4. Um,
DBR, no CQR, no
it's called it's the 6920, I think, the Colt 6920 or something like that. I don't know, but I can't remember. But they showed it um when 1.0 was dropping, and like they showed actual renders of it, like in game, and
yeah.
I assumed we were going to get it, and we just never did. So maybe that's what this is. Maybe this is an upper for that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll find out soon, I hope. Another
Yeah.
look at them crossing some waters. Now, here's where we get back into is this arena, is this in the line, or is this icebreaker? I I don't know, dude. I genuinely I don't know. This is like the Lighthouse Cafe or something. You know what I mean? Clearly,
Look at
there's a
that. Is that
lighthouse there.
Lightkeeper?
That's a Lightkeeper, I think, and that is a lighthouse. But is it also a beer bottle? I think it's like a lighthouse beer bottle. Like I think it's a bar, like a
Oh yeah, it
pub.
is. It is.
You know what I mean? Sure, they're having fun with it. They're memeing a bit, but like, is this for arena? Is this for end of line? Is end of line tied to Lightkeeper somehow? Is this on the icebreaker ship and it's all cultist stuff? Like, dude, a billion questions pop up with this map. Um, Personally, would love to see this be an arena map. I think this has a cool vibe to it. But yeah, who knows? Tarduck's Coffee. Look at a USEC operative. Nothing new of note there. More audio engine work. Now, the bolt cutting tells me one of two things. A, we're going to have a way of breaching doors and locked gates potentially. We might get bolt cutters and they were recording the audio sound for when you snap the bolt. Or B, it's just part of the trailer for the icebreaker stuff and this is like them introducing the way to get to the icebreaker transit or whatever, right? But I mean, we were in the works of having ways to breach doors and unlock things and do stuff, and they've already added like a blowtorch and labyrinth to let you open doors. I don't see why we couldn't just run a pair of bolt cutters in any of those bolt locked doors. We can just snap. Who knows? Maybe, maybe
I
not.
feel like we've seen teases of this before too, like teases of like different ways to get into areas such as lock picking, bolt cutting. Like they've
We saw the
teased
pry
several
bar at
things
one
like that.
point. Yeah,
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 yeah, the pry bar. Yeah, definitely different ways of breaking into areas. Um, Kind of
yeah. I
surprised that we haven't seen it in game yet,
No, I
unless it's
agree.
in the story and I just haven't made it that far. That's possible.
Um, no, I don't. I don't think you have any interaction with any kind of. I know I don't want to spoil that. I'm not going to say it. It doesn't matter for this one. I know that terminal you do use a pry bar. I think at one point, but I'm not 100% on that. And I'm not going to act like I know for sure because I haven't been there yet. The last thing that I have for this week to talk about is this screenshot that we got given to us through the Core Corp. So COR3CORP, all one word on Twitter if you want to follow it. Also, actually, before we get into that, I do have one other bit of news that I want to cover, and that is the Russia's Real stuff. If you go to Russia's Real, that is Dimitri's the former Battlestate dev opens new studio to make Russia's Real. We don't know what exactly is going on with it. We have very little to no information. It's easier to just say we have no information on it. The Twitter shows his post saying, see you BSG, here's what's next. He says Russia's Real, it's a turning point, and then this post, Insider Gaming, former Battlestate dev opens new studio to make Russia's Real. Don't know what it is, don't know what's going on with it. Excited to see it, looking forward to whatever's coming of it. Awesome. The next thing that we have is, or the last thing that we have is this screenshot we got from Core Corp, and it looks sick. We've seen more and more screenshots from them throughout the last few weeks. I haven't been covering every single one of them. I just didn't think it was necessary. This one, though, this shows almost something that's like a limitless possibility here. Are we going to be able to not only customize our loadouts? Oh, I didn't even notice the fourth one back here. Are we going to be able to customize our loadouts in a way that we have all these variants, but we're also going to be in space, like going from ship to ship, flying around? Like, this looks like pods landing near ships and things. These guys are kitted out. Like, to what degree is this space fighting going to take place? Are we actually going to be able to float through space killing each other, or docking on ships and like Marauder style combat stuff? Like, what's the deal,
how and they are not tethered to that ship, so it's like,
no, they're
free
floating
in space. Like, there's got to be
some
some kind of mechanism,
jetpacks,
something like that, a
something,
jetpack of some sort, because they all have huge backpacks on. You just can't quite see what
right?
they're doing. So
Yeah,
it's like,
absolutely massive.
very well, that's probably what, because you see the tubes running on their front to back, so that would insinuate possibly some kind of pressure system to maybe. But
Keep
then
them
again, space
out in
doesn't
space.
have
Yeah.
air, so you can't use pressure to move.
Well,
I
you
don't
have
know.
to
I
keep
guess you can't
things
actually wrap your
pressurized
brain around.
inside. Yeah, and you have to keep pressure
Yeah,
inside the suit or you're going to fucking die. You have to have oxygen flowing. And then you have to have some sort of propulsion system, which
yeah,
could
and
be
then
what
again,
these are right here, even. Like these speaker looking
yeah,
deals, that could be propulsion.
yeah, because they all have 'em on.
Yeah.
So,
Also, I want to point
but yeah,
out the look of the guns. These things look
yeah,
like Destiny meets Apex almost. Like, this looks gnarly. These look really, really cool. I can't wait to see how this stuff flows. It's kind of interesting to get this sci-fi techie world that's so different from Tarkov, made by, the same guy that had his hands in Tarkov or created Tarkov. So it's like we're gonna get that gritty realism, I would imagine, but in a space sci-fi theme potentially. I mean, we've got a machine gun, or I should say an LMG, a sniper rifle, whatever this cat has back here, whether that's a melee or a shotgun or something, maybe an SMG. And then this cat up here with what looks like either a shotgun or an assault rifle. I would assume assault rifle, but who knows? There's just so many questions keep popping up. The more screenshots we get from Core, the more I'm just like,
yeah.
what the hell is actually going on here, and what is this game actually going to be?
It reminds me of Mass Effect. Like, those look like Mass Effect weapons.
That's a great, yeah, that's a great way to express that. Absolutely, they do look like Mass Effect weapons. Mass Effect for sure. But yeah, that's everything I have for the week. I don't know. Do you have anything else you wanted to cover or talk about?
Yeah, just to go back, the gun that we seen at the beginning of 1.0 patch before we, got 1.0, it was a car 816A2,
The
which wasn't him.
car,
Yeah, and
yeah,
we never did see it. But we also seen a picture one time of a Norinco CQ, which is a Chinese knockoff AR-15.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so both of those we've seen at one point in time, and they just still haven't made it in the game. So
Yeah, interesting. I hope they are the C. I already forgot CQ.
The car
The car
816.
816. Yeah. We don't have
And
any
what's
cars in the game
weird
yet, which would be cool.
no,
We kind of need them.
what's weird is I figured by now we would see the, Daniel Defense M4, the DD-M4. Like, I'm surprised we haven't seen that too. Like, there's so many weapons, and that's what's great about Tarkov is we know there's still so many weapons to come,
Oh
so
yeah, there's a lot that we just haven't gotten yet that we should be getting
yeah.
our hands on
But
soon
yeah,
enough.
just wanted to point that out because I couldn't remember the name of it, but that's what it was definitely the car 816. That's
Yeah, yeah. Car's cool. I'm excited for that. Hopefully it comes
yeah.
soon.
I was excited to see a cheap, easier to obtain M4 at the beginning, kinda, similar to the, oh shit, what's the Russian, uh, god damn it,
The Russian what?
M4 or AR-15 in game. The
Adar?
first yeah, yeah, there we go. I was gonna say the first 5.56 weapon you really get access to is the
Yeah,
AR.
yeah, the Adar.
So this would give the ADAR some competition, and
That would be
basically
cool.
let you use it pretty early, I would imagine. It should be
Yeah,
cheap, semi-auto only, like, just a earlier M4.
for sure. Yeah, that would be cool. Hopefully we still get those things. Maybe
Yeah.
with the seasonal update we'll get some of that stuff.
Well, like I said, the fact that they teased it and then we never did actually get it, it was weird. Like, because everything else they teased, we got in 1.0. So that's like the one thing that never did like show up.
Right, right. All right. Well,
And
if that's
there's just so many great weapons. So it's like you could go talking about that shit all day. But the good thing is they've promised a lot more stuff. So it's like if there is anything you want to see, it's eventually probably coming.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. Well, just looking at the Tarkov wiki, you can see a bunch of guns that haven't been introduced yet that are guaranteed to be coming still. So we definitely have a long future of cool stuff being introduced coming into Tarkov soon enough.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all I had.
All right. Well, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode of Talking Tarkov, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Just don't forget to hit that bell icon so you never miss an upload. We'll catch you next week. See ya.